Ideology in marketing communications content. This is today's topic. The lecture structure is as follows: why marketing communications is important, how ideology plays a role in it, the different components of marketing communications, public relations and ideology, direct marketing and ideology, and social media marketing and ideology. As we go forward, we need to understand why marketing communications is important. Marketing communications is the means by which a firm attempts to inform, persuade, and remind consumers directly or indirectly about the products, the brands that the company purveys to the consumers. It represents the voice of the company and its brands. They are by means which the firm can establish a dialogue with the consumer and develop customer equity. Marketing communications also works for consumers when they show how and why a product is used, by whom, where, and when. Consumers can learn who makes the product, what is the usage of the products, what is the benefit of the product, and how long they can use it. This information transfer allows the companies to create a linkage with the consumers, which can be a unique linkage and can result into brand equity. Therefore, marketing communications is an essential part of all marketing efforts and helps the company to build a linkage with the consumer. There are a number of reasons why marketers are adopting the integrated marketing communications approach. A fundamental reason is that they understand the value of strategically integrating the various communication platforms. That means that they want a unified message from the organization to reach the consumer, and in today's day and age, when there is a plethora of platforms, it is essential that the organization talks in one voice. They do not want duplication. They want to take advantage of a synergy among the promotional tools and develop more and effective marketing communications. Advocates of IMCs argue that it is one of the easiest ways for a company to maximize the return on investment in marketing and promotion. So, what is integrated marketing communication, or IMC? American Association of Advertising Agencies defined IMC in 1989 as follows: a concept of marketing communications planning that recognizes the added value of a comprehensive plan that evaluates the strategic roles of a variety of communication disciplines, for example, general advertising, direct response, sales promotions, and public relations, and combines these disciplines to provide clarity, consistency, and maximum communications impact. Today, in today's day and age, the modern marketers have also added to it social media marketing or content marketing. Going forward, we need to understand how marketing communications is related to ideology. There has been a lot of research on how marketing communications influences society. Key to this research, the research has come up with certain elements of what makes a marketing communication effective. The first one is message consistency. The need of an organization to adequately coordinate messages generated at all levels, department and outside firm. Interactivity. Ensure voice of all stakeholders is listened to and taken into account in decision making, which enhances organizational responsiveness. Stakeholder centered logic. Meanwhile, meaningful dialogue with all stakeholders. Organizational alignment, horizontal and vertical, within and between external partners. Therefore, what marketing communications emphasizes is that there has to be a strategic alignment among the different parts of the organization, and these different parts of the organization should talk in one voice with the different customers or the different stakeholders who are related to the company. In doing this, ideology comes in because the organization that communicates with the stakeholders is also in a similar society as the stakeholders, and therefore there is a give and take of ideas and beliefs between the organization and the customers. The fact that IMC is the voice of the corporations is often identified with a particular ideology. For example, Nike, Reliance, Tatas are often identified with a certain ideological belief, and this has its roots in how ideology influences the macro or microeconomic and political structure. On the macro level, ideology informs the understandings of the different forms of capitalism, which are used in turn to design institutions. These institutions shape the context in which companies operate, and thus also the type of communications with their consumers. Hence, the nature of marketing communications differ from India to Saudi Arabia because of the differences in the above. On the meso level, the ideologies influence the formal and informal structures of markets and marketing systems and organizations, that is, institutional logics. Industrial and professional associations, cooperation and coordination schemes, and participation and decision making. Within organization, ideologies are mobilized to shape ethics and justify internal policies and interactions. For example, within organization, there may be the policy of a sustainable usage of resources, and this sustainable usages of resources, this ideology of sustainable usage of resources might lead to usage of paper to the minimum. Therefore, even if paper is utilized within the organization, the effort is on taking prints back to back or taking printouts which are not important on paper which has already been once printed. On the micro level, ideologies are part of the belief systems of individuals and exert partly conscious and partly unconscious influences on their decision-making processes. This influence has been discussed in, for example, gender and family studies, and has also found expression in business ethics. And furthermore, ideology is all used for agents and managers, used by agents and managers as a strategy to legitimize certain specific corporate stances. Therefore, what we are saying is that at the micro level, the ideological beliefs of the managers influences the decisions they take in day-to-day life, and also the corporate policies that they implement, which can be in the case of marketing communications also. So, the content generated by marketing communications reflects these micro, macro, and meso level ideologies. So, let us now go back and summarize what we did. We talked about marketing communications, we talked about how ideology comes in here, and how marketing communications is influenced by ideology at different levels. Quiz time. So the first question is, what is the objective of marketing communications? To create a distribution channel, to fix pricing, to establish a dialogue and build a relationship with consumers? Which one would be the answer? The answer would be to establish a dialogue and build relationships with consumers. From the generic marketing communications, we now move on to the specific marketing communications. So, before getting into specific, let us first discuss the different elements of marketing communications. Obviously, the first one is advertising, but in the previous lecture, we have extensively discussed advertising and we have explained how advertising content is linked with ideology. The second element that is discussed in integrated marketing communications is public relations and publicity, which is a variety of programs directed internally to employees of the company or externally to consumers, other firms, the government, and media to promote or protect a company's image or its individual product communications. This third element is events and experiences. Company sponsored activities and programs designed to create daily or special brand related interactions with consumers, including sports, arts, entertainment, and cause events, as well as less formal activities. Fourthly is direct marketing, which uses telephone, fax, email, internet, nowadays different forms of personal communication with the objective of which is to solicit response or a dialogue from specific customers and prospects. Then there's interactive marketing or content marketing, online activities and programs designed to engage customers or prospects and directly or indirectly to raise awareness, improve image, or elicit sales of products and services. Seventh is sales promotion, a variety of short-term incentives to encourage trial or purchase of products, which can be coupons, buy two, get one, business to business incentives, sales force promotions, lot of incentives which are directed to the consumer to make them buy the product. Word of mouth marketing, people to people, oral, written, or electronic communication that relate to the merits and experiences of using products or services. Personal selling, the face-to-face interaction with one or more prospective purchasers for the purpose of making presentations, answering questions, making a direct sale. All these, we do not get into all the different areas of marketing communications, since we are looking at the content part of marketing communications and the role of ideology there. The first one that we look into is ideology and public relations. But before we get into analyzing public relations content and ideology, let us first look at the definition of public relations. Public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. The publics are various groups in a society which can influence or bring pressure on the firm's decision making, and also have an impact upon its marketing performance or performance in other areas. Typically, for an organization, the publics are the people who are part of the organization, the customers, the financial investors, the financial market, the people who are in and around the organization, that means people staying in and around the organization, the people who are staying in and around the factories. These are the typical publics of public relations. Obviously, therefore, the main role of public relations is to generate content. And here comes in the role of ideology. Public relations has become increasingly a tool in shaping public policy, public opinion, and instigating public debate, thereby playing an active role in shaping democracy throughout the world. Because the political environment determines the nature of public relations, there is linkage between various political ideologies and public relations. Evidence suggests that in societies whose political systems do not value public opinion, the nature of public relations is not sophisticated and the true character of public relations is not symmetrical. It does not consider the feedback of the public and therefore the nature of it is propagandist. In these sort of organizations, in these sort of settings, therefore, the organization's content necessarily becomes a reflection of the ideology of that setting. Hence, public relations content is deeply rooted in the macro political or macro political, cultural, social situation. Historically, PR has represented the dominant ideologies of the time. For example, Hitler's propaganda is taken as an example of his publicity efforts, in publicity. Edward Bernays, who is hailed as the father of public relations, promoted Lucky Strike, a cigarette, among women, representing it as a symbol of the feminist ideology. In fact, political leaders and governments utilize public relations tools to promote their ideology. Therefore, PR content is not devoid of ideological implications. On the other hand, there is organizational publics and ideology. Sometimes original decisions or text are altered significantly, and here is an example of how it happens. A large container company corporation recruited an agency for the production of an environmental report. The company wanted the agency to produce a study demonstrating that consumers were more interested in economic growth than in environmental protection. The agency did the research but found out the consumers were actually more interested in economic growth, were actually more interested in environmental protection than in economic growth. The company went back and reported this to the agency went back and reported this to the company, which got furious and told the agency that it needed reports otherwise. As a result, the agency scurried to produce a series of increasingly blander reports until one less than accurate but acceptable report was crafted. So, in organizational PR, there is often a compromise of the ideology, of the true ideology to suit the purposes of the organization. However, increasingly, because of the social media and a very conscious public, the organizations have to listen to the ideologies or have to adhere to the ideologies of the day. From a public relations perspective, then, various checkpoints following decision making may erode the power of public relations counsel and render somewhat elusive notions of honesty and integrity in communications. As several executives have pointed out, that the checkpoints also can be used by public relations personnel to attempt to counter or modify misleading text or questionable decisions. Therefore, public relations, if it happens properly, can also ensure that the ideologies of the day or the ideologies that the people adhere to are followed by the organizations when decisions are taken about the communications that are going to go out from the organizations to the different publics. We'll take a quick quiz on how public relations and ideology is linked. There's a link between ideology and public relations because it is a part of marketing. All organizations adopt it. Political environment determines the nature of public relations. there is linkage between various political ideologies and public relations. So, your quick answer should be there is a link between ideology and public relations because political environment determines the nature of public relations. There is linkage between various political ideologies and public relations. Now, a quick explanation of how direct marketing is also linked with ideology. But first let me explain what is direct marketing. Direct marketing involves a variety of activities including database management, direct selling, telemarketing, and direct response ads through direct mail, the internet, and various broadcast and print media. An example would be Dell Computer and Gateway have experienced tremendous growth in the computer industry by selling a full line of personal computers through direct marketing. The direct marketing example in front of you would be the emailers that you get from Zomato or Swiggy if you have subscribed to those apps. Those are giving you every day an update about what offers are there, what promotions are there to you, or letters or catalogs that you get in your email from them. Now, these direct marketing content always represents the ideologies of the day because they have to give you content which is attractive, which is engaging, which makes you open those emailers. On the other hand, there is also content marketing and ideology. Social media binds together communities that once were geographically isolated, greatly increasing the pace and intensity of collaboration. Now that these once remote communities are densely networked, their cultural influence has become direct and substantial. These new crowd cultures come in two flavors: subcultures, which incubate new ideologies and practices, and art worlds which break new ground in entertainment. These members produce their own content so well that companies find difficult to compete. So therefore you find YouTubers who create content, unique content, and become popular, and they create trends which people follow. It is very difficult for companies to compete with these content creators. But the companies need to set themselves apart by promoting these ideologies that springs from the crowd. Chipotle did this successfully when it made two short films critiquing industrial food, tapping into an environment, into a movement that began in the organic farming subculture and blew up into a mainstream concern on social media. Other good examples would be that of Dove, which championed the other side of the divide with campaigns that spoke to crowd culture concerns about unhealthy beauty standards for women. The Dove campaign was immensely successful as it talked about the downside of idolizing perfect beauty and gave the ordinary woman a chance to feel accepted in the mainstream. The different forms of media that are there in the social media sector, that is what is popularly known as poem, that is paid, owned, earned media. In all these sectors, the ideology of the popular ideologies need to be reflected for the companies, for the content sake, for the sake of the content, for the sake of the marketing communications of the company, so that the companies are in touch with the consumers. This would mean that social media content should be gender sensitive, be aware about climate change issues of the day, and also the various economic or political ideologies that are popular among the target audience, which can be in different geographies. Therefore, in conclusion, marketing communications content is influenced by the ideologies of the day, They have to reflect the thought processes of the target audience, otherwise, there are chances that they will suffer. They are also influenced by the macro level and the meso level ideologies of, of the geography that they are in, and therefore the content is laden with those implications. Going forward, this is the last quiz that you will be facing of this lecture structure. The questions are: how ideology affects direct marketing, how ideology affects content marketing, what is poem, how ideology affects direct marketing. Ideology is reflected in the different content that is given out in the form of direct marketing tools, which can be a letter email, which can be a catalog, which can be a direct presentation. How ideology influences content marketing, the social media, Instagram posts, the various Facebook posts, or the any other social media posts of an organization has to reflect the popular topics of the day which connect them with the consumers. What is poem? Poem is paid, owned, and earned media. Thank you.